was written for our behalf. Again, Corinthians talks about how all those things will happen to them for us to learn something, for us to pay attention to, those who the end of the age has come. We need to bless the children, don't we? Before we leave Egypt, let's go bless the children. Hallelujah.
Father Yahweh, we come before you today. We thank you for our friends and our family that we have here. We thank you for each of the families that are represented here. Father, we ask for blessing over our wives that nurture our kids. Father, we pray for our children. We lift them up to you that we may guide them and teach them your ways properly, that they may grow up and be strong men and women of Yahweh. Father, we just ask for your blessing over the lesson today for the children. We ask that you fill them. Father, we love you and we thank you. We pray all this in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach.
Hallelujah! Hallelujah! Woo! Okay. Yeah, this portion today, again, we were to pay attention to what happened to the children of Israel when they left Egypt, and we know that Yahweh put 10 plagues on the children of Israel as they left Egypt as a way to show his might to the world and to show the Egyptian Pharaoh and the Egyptian people that he was the supreme ruler of all the world. Definitely. And we know that those first 3 plagues, for some reason, the children of Israel are included in those first 3 plagues. The blood and the frogs. And then they were separated. I guess the lice too. The third one was the lice, I think. And then they were separated, split apart from the Egyptians, and the plagues didn't bother them. For some reason, Yahweh decided to separate us. But I don't know how that plays in with us in this day and age, that as Yahweh starts to deliver us, and we talked about that last week, how during the deliverance from Egypt, it didn't go well for the people, and they weren't too happy about the way they were being delivered, because when Moses showed up, Pharaoh didn't listen to him and put more work on them, and the leaders were beat up. Those that were put over in the leadership position of the Israelites were beat up, and I guess that would have been maybe the leaders of the Israelites. So if somebody said, I'm going to come deliver you, and I'm from Yahweh, and then I get beat up and more work put on me, I'm not really going to be too happy or believe it. And then when the plagues start happening, they're happening to me too. It just didn't seem well, did it, for the children of Israel. I think a lot of times when we start in this walk, a lot of people look back and say, why is this happening to me? Why am I being subjected to all of this while I'm turning to Yahweh? And it's hard for us to answer. Why not? Yeah, because Yahweh said. I think Job asked that same question, why me? And while his buddies called him a sinner for suffering those consequences, Yahweh just showing him that, hey, I own you, or we belong to Yahweh. We are a purchased possession. The blood that bought us. We were bought with a price. And being a possessed object, being owned by Yahweh, he can do with me what he chooses. And we went over some of the things that he did with some of the people last week. Some of the prophets running around barefoot and naked for 3 years and laying on their side for 390 days, cooking their food. Yahweh relented about the cooking his food over human dung, and they didn't do it over cow dung, but still, not a real blessed thing, is it? And some of the things that he does to people or with people, it's just kind of like us being in the army. It's not our reason to wonder why. It's theirs to do and die. And I believe that when you look in Acts 1, where it says, these shall be witnesses to me in all the world, that word there can mean martyr. And we need to be prepared to be martyred. or to give whatever he calls us to do. And I think that trying of the heart of the people to see, are you really going to follow him in season and out when the going gets tough? Or are you going to turn and want to go back to Egypt? Because it's easier in Egypt. Or that's the way they saw it. It's easier to perish, and we should have stayed in Egypt instead of come out into the wilderness and perish here. And the analogy of perishing following the Messiah being better than dying in Egypt in splendor. In other words, should I go back and die in sin because it's the easier way to go? Or am I going to perish following the Messiah in that wilderness, in that barren wilderness, in this non-pleasant way to go? Well, it comes to Pharaoh, and I believe that Pharaoh was actually kind of hit with an ultimatum. He speaks a lot of times through the narrative to Pharaoh. He's saying, I will harden Pharaoh's heart. But I believe when he hits the sixth plague, I believe it says he hardened Pharaoh's heart. In other words, instead of it being future tense, it becomes present tense. Of when he actually did his heart, and that's when it started to change. In the sixth plague, the plague of the bulls, Pharaoh's magicians couldn't stand before Moses and Aaron. We start to see a power shift. We start to see Moses and Aaron become more dominant before Pharaoh, and Pharaoh becoming smaller. His magicians are not mentioned again after the sixth plague. Now his leader people are with him, but not the sorcerers and the magicians or the magic workers. Don't seem to be mentioned there again. Pharaoh being a picture of Satan and the ruler of this pleasant world, and just as Satan holds the people captive in sin, so does Pharaoh hold the children of Israel in sin and refuses to let it go. We have this exercise going on when we get to Exodus 7. Let's go to Exodus 7. Just as Satan fears the coming of Messiah, I believe that Pharaoh got to where that he feared the coming of Moses and Aaron towards the end. Even though he hardened his heart, he tended to start to vacillate more and become more deceitful in his dialogue towards him. So Yahweh said to Moses, see, I have made you as an Elohim to Pharaoh, and Aaron your brother is a prophet. You shall speak all that I command you, and Aaron your brother shall speak to Pharaoh, and let the children of Israel go out of his land. But I am going to harden the heart of Pharaoh, that's that future tense part, and shall increase my signs and wonders in the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh is not going to listen to you, and I shall lay my hand on Mithraim and bring my divisions and my people and the children of Israel out of the land of Mithraim by great judgments. And I believe that he's going to do that to us, or with us, in the final analogy of us being led out of the land. And 5:2, when Moses and Aaron first, let's go back to 5:2, Exodus 5:2. When Moses and Aaron first go before Pharaoh, I believe Pharaoh kind of seals his fate right there to be hardened. In 5:2 he says, and Pharaoh said, who is Yahweh that I should obey his voice to let Israel go? I do not know Yahweh, nor am I going to let Israel go. He's refusing to humble himself before the Creator of the world. And there's an analogy that we can make to us in the New Testament here. When we go to 2 Thessalonians 2, in verse 7, and I want to go there, and look at some contrast here between Pharaoh refusing to follow Yahweh and his heart being hardened, and him turning totally against Yahweh and all that he does.
What was it, 2 Thessalonians 2?
2:7. Yeah. 2 Thessalonians 2:7. Well, the secret of lawlessness is already at work, and that's the mystery of iniquity and the King James. Only until who has already worked. Only until who now restrains comes out of the midst. And then the lawless one shall be revealed, whom the master shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and bring to naught with the manifestation of his coming. That's kind of what he did to Pharaoh, isn't it? The coming of the lawless one is according to the working of Satan with all power, signs, and wonders of falsehood. Now remember the first 3 plagues, these magicians copied. And they were able to emulate all these signs and wonders before Pharaoh and before the people for all these years until Yahweh shows up, and then that 3rd plague when he separates the children of Israel from the children of Egypt, they couldn't copy them plagues anymore. They couldn't emulate, or their magic tended to fade. With all the seed of unrighteousness in those who are perishing because they did not receive a love of the truth in order for them to be saved. For this reason, Elohim sends them a working of delusion for them to believe the falsehood. Is that what he did to Pharaoh? A working of delusion. When we turn and say, who is Yahweh that I should follow him? I don't know him. Is he going to give us that working of delusion to believe that lie? And once we reach that point, is there any bringing you back? I don't think so. I think once you harden yourself to that point and he sends you that delusion, I think you're done. Your faith sealed. And I don't want that to happen to any of us. I think we should be very circumspect of what is happening to us. In Exodus 7, let's go back to Exodus 7 and look at that right after 1 through 3 that we did. Let's look at 7:13. And Pharaoh's heart was hardened, and he did not listen to them as Yahweh had said. Did Pharaoh harden his own heart, or did Yahweh send him that delusion? Had he reached that delusion? And Yahweh said to Moses, the heart of Pharaoh is hard, he refuses to let the people go. We can kind of contrast this with the people of Yah quenching the Spirit. Did you know the word quench there? When you go to 1 Thessalonians 5:19. It just simply says, don't quench the Spirit. Do not quench the Spirit. When we have His Spirit and we start to put it down, I believe this word is used in Ephesians 4:30. And let's go to Ephesians 4:30 because it gives a little different take on this. And it says to do not grieve the set-apart Spirit of Elohim by whom you were sealed for the day of redemption. Do we or can we grieve or quench that Spirit? And I believe we can. I believe that's one of the big problems in this walk is a lot of people, like I say, there's believers, there's non-believers, and there's make-believers. And we don't want to be a make-believer.
Once you grieve the Spirit to a certain point, you grieve the Spirit so much that you quench the Spirit, then the Father, or having seared our own conscience, right? Having seared your conscience with a hot iron. And the Father can turn us over to a reprobate, being turned over to a reprobate mind. The word reprobate, I think, is what you're talking about.
Yeah, right. The word, the Greek word is 3076. And it can be heaviness, a heavy heart. Did you know that the Hebrew word there that's used when it says Pharaoh had a hard heart, that Hebrew word also means heavy, that he had a heavy heart? This Greek word, this Greek equivalent also means heavy-hearted. And the Greek equivalent, if you want to go look it up, means to grieve or to be heavy, sorrowful, make sorry. When it says he had a heavy heart or a sorrowful heart or a hard heart, we don't want to be there. And I think that warning for us is one that we should heed in this day and time. Let's look at a couple more verses here right quick of this word being used in Matthew 25. And that is the 10 virgins. When it says, Matthew 25 verse 8, when it says their lamps are going out, and the foolish said to the wise, give us their oil, because our lamps are going out. That going out is that same word quench, heaviness, heavy of heart. Could it be that their heart wasn't right with Yah? I think that's a given, isn't it? If their heart would have been right, they would have been there with what was going on. Do a couple more. Let's go to Romans 3:18. Romans 3:18. This is why this happens. Romans 3:18. There is no fear of Elohim before their eyes. They did not fear Yah, did they? Just as Pharaoh didn't fear him, did he? At first, had no fear of him. Had no fear of Yah. The idols in Egypt, the worshipers of idols. And we know that those that worship idols are in a bad way. And we know that all the 10 plagues was aimed right at 10 idols in Egypt, wasn't it? Or 10 of their main deities. When you look at that, and I looked at a lot of these deities, and a lot of people put different deities with these 10 plagues. And I think the reason they do that is because I believe there was a main group, I forgot the name, the word that was used for the main 9 deities, and I believe all these little deities fell underneath those. Now you can find multiple deities actually that fit all of these categories. And I believe when it says Yahweh is going to execute judgment against all the gods of Egypt, I believe that they all fit in one of the pegs. And when he hit the main deity and all the lesser deities below it, he did that. And I want to go to 1 Corinthians 10, and we'll start maybe in 14. 10:14. Therefore, my beloved ones, flee from idolatry. Worshiping them idols, right? That's kind of a given, isn't it? I speak to wise men. Judge for yourselves what I say. The cup of blessing which we bless, is it not shared in the blood of Messiah? And the bread we break, is it not sharing in the body of Messiah? Because there is one bread. We who are many are one body, for we all partake of that one bread. Look at Israel after the flesh, for those who do not eat of the offering sharers with the altar. What then do I say? That an idol is of any value? on which is offered to idols of any value? No, but what the Gentiles offer, they offer to demons. In Egypt, they were offering to demons, masquerading, just as we do if we partake of an idol. We're actually partaking of demons. And they have many. One of the things that happens to these evil deities and things is they do not have a set structure, set of rules like Yahweh does. And these pagan deities left the people confused and not knowing how to serve their deity. Much the way modern Christianity leaves the people confused and not knowing how to serve Yahweh. They leave it kind of without a set of rules or any dogma or anything. Well, what happened with the pagans is they would go to cutting themselves and sacrificing their kids, throwing virgins to the volcano or whatever they did to appease their God because they didn't know how. They didn't know how to appease him. So they went ballistic. And hopefully to please their God, which was a demon masquerading as a deity, test the spirit. Are we testing the spirit today to see what spirit is coming upon us? To be sure if we have a dream or a vision or something that we know is coming from Yahweh and not from a pagan source. And I hope we are. I hope we're testing these spirits to be sure they are the right one and they belong to Yahweh. Because in the end time, we will run, I believe all of this is going to be run through again in some respect, maybe not exactly going down the same way, but there will be a false prophet that will emulate this Pharaoh. Pharaoh was a deity to the children of Israel, thought he was a deity. The power of Satan. He had all these lesser gods. They all sacrificed to him. His servants could do miracles before the people to persuade them that what he was doing was correct, much the way Simon Magus did in Rome when he started, I believe, the Roman Catholic Church to persuade the people that that was the real deal instead of a cheap imitation that he was.
Is he the guy that tried to buy the Holy Spirit?
He's the guy that tried to buy the Holy Spirit. The early church fathers talks about how he went to Rome and was so successful in Rome that they built a statue to him and worshipped him as a god, is what some of the early church fathers said of Simon Magus. After he was chastised by Peter for trying to buy the Holy Spirit. Peter and John baptized him. For all respect, he was baptized by the apostles directly. Of course, he was chastised for trying to buy the Holy Spirit, but there was a lot of chastisement that went on in Scripture. And he went to Rome and proceeded to work his miracles there before the people, and they seen him as a deity. I think Mitch brought a paper up here. He's teaching the kids, but I think he brought a paper up here talking about that later after he went and researched it.
It's called Simon the Sorcerer, too.
Simon the Sorcerer. Yep. Yep. Anyway, I believe that is the Peter that's laid in the cathedral, in Peter's cathedral. I believe that's the one, not the real Peter.
The one they rubbed the toe off.
Exactly. The one that, yeah. Cheap imitations is nothing new in Christendom or our walk, is it? Yahweh helps. Yahweh helps. Thank you, Yah, for being our Yahweh. Anyway, let's go to Exodus 10 and let's look at the Torah portion. Well, here we start with Yahweh saying, and Yahweh said to Moses, "Go into Pharaoh, for I have hardened his heart and the hearts of his servants." That is a strong statement, friends. A lot of people have again, a lot of people speculate about Yahweh hardening his heart, but I believe that he was already sealed his faith before Yahweh stepped in to show his might to the world. That he was already an evil person, and his evil had already taken him to a point where that, just like those in the New Testament that are sent to strong delusion, that you've sealed your faith. And then Yahweh will use you again as his choosing on the wrong side of things. But you will serve Yahweh in either to show his might to the world or to be his servant. Choose to be his servant. Don't choose to be an example of what not to do.
He's made the wicked even for the day of destruction.
Hallelujah. Yeah, that's a play on, isn't it? You're going to serve him or you're going to serve him? Whew. So that I may show these signs of mine before him, and that you relate in the hearing of his sons and your sons' sons what I have done to Mithraim and my signs which I have done among them, and you shall know that I am Yahweh. Your sons and your sons' sons, believe it or not, Passover is about the children, and are relating to the children and delivering to the children what Yahweh's done in Egypt. So that's what we want to do. And Moses and Aaron came before Pharaoh and said to him, Thus saith Yahweh Elohim of the Hebrews, Till when shall you refuse to humble yourself before me? Let my people go so that they may serve me. That they may do what? Like we keep bringing up and saying, there's a little more to it than just keeping the law. When I've kept all the law, just say I'm an unprofitable servant because I only did that which was commanded. There's a service side of this that goes on the top side of after you have done all you are commanded, say I'm unprofitable. I say, wow, I don't even get to the portion, I don't even get to unprofitable. How can I be a servant when I don't even do everything I'm commanded? Woo! My goodness. Or else, if you refuse to let my people go, see, tomorrow I'm bringing locusts within your borders, and they shall cover the surface of the land, so that no one is able to see the land, and they shall eat the rest of what is escaped, and which remains to you from the hail, and they shall eat every tree which grows up out of the field. And they shall fill your houses, and the houses of all your servants, and the houses of Mithraim, which neither you nor your fathers have seen since the day you were on the earth to this day. Then he turned and went out from Pharaoh. You see a little more of this turning right here of the power structure, turning to Moses' favor, because even Pharaoh's servants said to him, Till when will this one be a snare to us? Let the man go so that they serve Yahweh their Elohim. Do you not know that Mithraim or Egypt is destroyed? Now when your own team turns on you, it's time to pay attention, ain't it? What do you think? I think Moses' hand was getting a little stronger. And Moses and Aaron were brought back before Pharaoh, and he said to them, Go serve Yahweh your Elohim, who are the ones that are going? And Moses said, We're going with our young, our old, with our sons, our daughters, with our flocks, our herds. We are going, for we have a festival to Yahweh. You remember in the beginning, we talked about this the other day, when he said, we're going to go 3 days into the wilderness. And we talked about what is 3 days from Passover. Or do you think Yahweh was just blowing there saying 3 days just hypothetically like there's really no meaning to 3 days? Or is there really meaning to 3 days? And what happened 3 days after the Messiah, after we left Egypt? If you got the picture of the week, we have the wave sheaf offering, don't we? If it happened on a Wednesday, on the week that the Messiah was crucified on that Sunday, we would have that wave sheaf. If it was 3 days and 3 nights, we have 3 days, we have a wave sheaf. I believe that is that offering he's talking about, that service to them. And I believe that when you turn and you leave Egypt, you're actually starting and you're leaving sin. You've actually done something. See, up until then, everything, they were just along for the ride. They did accept the Messiah. They did kill the lamb and all of that. That only pertained to the firstborn being sanctified. All of the people got up and left Egypt. They all bore fruit walking out of sin or walking away from sin. Is that the first fruit that we bear when we actually turn from Satan and actually start to walk away from the world and towards our Messiah? We actually bear that first fruit that's delivered to us in that direction. So we're headed that way, that festival to Yahweh. And he said to them, let Yahweh be with you as I let you and your little ones go. Watch, for evil is before your face. Now, I don't really know what evil is before your face. Or evil, the King James says evil is ahead of you. Evil is ahead of you. Not so. You men go now and serve Yahweh, for that is what you desire. And they were driven out from the presence of Pharaoh. So Pharaoh is wanting just the men to go and kind of executing his power, showing, go, get out of here. I want you to go. And he said to them, let Yahweh be with you as I let you and your little ones go. Watch for evil before your face. Not so, you men now, go and serve Yahweh, for this is what you desire. And they were driven out from the presence of Pharaoh. And Yahweh said to Moses, stretch out your hand over the land of Egypt, Mithraim, for the locusts to come upon the land of Mithraim, and in every plant of the land, all that the hail was left. And Moses stretched out his rod over the land of Mithraim, and Yahweh brought an east wind over the land all that day and all that night. Morning came, and the east wind brought the locusts, and the locusts went up over all the land of Mithraim and settled with all the borders of Mithraim, very grievous. And they had never been locusts like them before, nor will there ever be like them. They covered the surface of all the land, so that the land was darkened, and they ate every plant of the land, and all the fruit of the trees which the hail had left, and no greenness was left on the trees or the plants of the field in all the land of Mithraim. Now the fruit being on the trees here, I don't think that was prior to Passover, but I believe that would have been the following fall. I think we get into a little bit of the time frame here and how long it took, because when we read through this, the one right after another, like this happened in a couple of weeks. But if there's fruit on the trees, do we have fruit on the trees prior to Passover? Maybe in the following fall. You think? Wait, when? No? Would have been maybe quite a little bit of time spaced out here, maybe? I think so. Yeah. I don't know if trees that bear fruit before the equinox in the spring, I don't know, before Passover, I don't know of any fruit trees that bear fruit there. And Pharaoh called for Moses and Aaron in haste and said, I have sinned against Yahweh your Elohim and against you. Well, that's quite a confession, isn't it? Now please forgive my sin only this once, and pray to Yahweh your Elohim that he would only turn away this death from me. What do you think? Pharaoh seems to have a change of heart, doesn't he? His heart really changed? Do we do the same thing when we're caught in a jam and we start playing Let's Make a Deal with Yahweh? Yahweh, if you get me out of this one, I will fill in the blank. I'll serve you. I'll do what I'm supposed. Oh, you know, our whole duty is to serve him, and yet we think that we have something to bring to the table. Like, I'll be your servant if you'll get me out of this jam. And that's our duty to start with. And when we've done that duty, we think we can bargain. But we think that's a bargaining chip, like he needs us. Did you know that he humors us in that a lot of times? And just like Pharaoh here, even though he humors us in that, just like Pharaoh, after we're out of that jam, do we do it or do we just forget it? I'll put Yahweh back on the shelf and I'll get him down next time I need him. That is why praying after the meal is so important. Giving thanks to him after you've been filled, after you've received the blessing. Praise him. I believe people are put into jams and tight spots because they don't give him that praise. And when they get in a tight spot, they praise him. So what's he going to do since he covets that praise? He's going to put you in a bad way. Will you praise him? Why don't you praise him when things are going good? Maybe he won't put you in those bad places. Give him the thanks, the glory for all that he's done for you. Hallelujah. You want to say something, Joseph?
Yes, sir. I think Israel was a great embarrassment to Pharaoh because Pharaoh actually believed and taught that he was the living God. And the fact that Yahweh was more powerful than him was an embarrassment to him. He just wanted to get rid of him, get him out of his life.
It seems like here he capitulated and asked for prayer and forgiveness, but it wasn't genuine. But yeah, Yahweh's starting to humble the man. Or try to.
If you make, what's it say? If you make a vow to Yahweh, pay it quickly, or it doesn't delight in fools.
Ecclesiastes, yeah. Yeah, pay your vows to Yahweh quickly because they have no delight in the fool. Yeah, if you're going to say something, you better do it. Oh boy. Now, I know I've got a lot to answer for, so I've got a lot to answer for. But all I can do is take today and go forward. And praise Yah that we do have an advocate. That our Messiah is there with us. Hallelujah. Because really, I think we're all little Pharaohs. Believe it or not. Because we all have a little pride and arrogance and vanity, and we all want to lord it over each other, or position ourselves above each other, or all want to think we're better than somebody else, or, oh my gosh, all the things we do. Hallelujah. Only by the grace of Yahweh. Hallelujah. There go I. Pray to Yahweh Elohim that he would only turn away this death from me. And he went out from Pharaoh and prayed to Yahweh. And Yahweh turned a very strong west wind which took the locusts away and blew them to the Sea of Reeds. Not one locust left all the borders of Mizraim. However, Yahweh hardened the heart of Pharaoh. And he did not let the children of Israel go. Now here, see, he's fixing to break. And Yahweh still wants to use this guy, even though he's turning because he's being forced to. But he's already sealed his fate. Yahweh's already sent him that strong delusion. And he probably wouldn't stay with the program anyway, but Yahweh steps in to show his might. And I'm going to tell you, there may be people that will run across in this same situation. I don't know what Yah's going to do, but please don't be one of them. Don't be one of those people. Always be open to new ideas. That's one of the things we found in this assembly on no subjects off limits. Nothing will not be discussed because we do not want to get so set that we're rejecting anything. You may disagree with that, but I believe that the truth is not afraid of open debate. And if we have an issue, maybe it's something we need to look at. Just don't bring whatever. And the assembly will decide. This is the judgment seat right here. The assembly look at whatever and see what's on. Hallelujah. Maybe Yahweh will have mercy on us and lead us in the truth. Spirit and truth. That's the way He wants us to serve Him. Serve Him in the Spirit and in truth. And Yahweh said to Moses, stretch out your hand toward the heavens and let there be darkness over the land of Mizraim, even darkness which is fell. And Moses stretched out his hand towards the heavens, and there was darkness over all the land of Mizraim for 3 days. And they did not see one another, nor did anyone rise from its place for 3 days, while all the children of Israel had light in their dwellings. Is Yahweh our light? Psalms 27:1. He is our light, isn't He? Hallelujah.
Amen.
Hallelujah. Yahweh is my light and my deliverance. Whom shall I fear? Yahweh is my refuge, is the refuge of my life. Whom shall I dread? Yahweh is the light that leads us, and by His path Psalms 85:15. Let's look at that. There is no 15 in 85. 89:15. Let's try that one. Sorry. First time that ever happened. This week. I think. I don't know. I've already messed up going 2 or 3 times. Blessed are the people who know the festival trumpet call. They walk, O Yahweh, in the light of your face. What in the world is that? Whew. That'd be His coming, wouldn't it? His, guess what? He's coming. Yeah. And He's coming to deliver somebody too, isn't He? And I believe He's going to come and deliver us. Yeah.
His word is a light to our path.
Yeah. What was the first thing He did in creation?
Make the
Light and darkness, wasn't it?
separate the light from the dark. No, that's the fourth day. Yeah.
Separate the light from the dark. Does that have anything to do with us? Light from dark?
They didn't make the lights until the 4th day.
Let's go back to Exodus 10:24. Yeah.
Before we, when we blow the, on Shabbat, we blow the shofar, we sing and dance, and that's like a little rehearsal of when He's coming.
Is that your back?
Microsoft.
That's not me, I don't think. I don't know where that's coming from.
Is it this thing?
Let's get the finger.
Yeah, it would be your computer.
I didn't make it. Now where'd it go?
What did you say, Glenn?
I was, when we blow the shofar, because we're commanded before a solemn assembly, and we're commanded to sing and dance and rejoice. I think that's a rehearsal of when He was, say He was coming back now, would we rejoice? Would we jump every time and rejoice? So I think the shofar and we're commanded to rejoice. So you will rejoice and have a good time.
Yeah. Tabernacles is the season of our joy. It's a command to be joyful. So whether you like it or not, you're going to have a good time. Debbie said so.
Yeah.
I think it's I think Sabbath is definitely a mini feast, and I think it's a mini everything. A little bit of singing, praise, and dance, and all that, rejoice, praise God, even on a gloomy old cold rainy day.
I say that because some people might think, well, why they blow those rams on those, but we're commanded to,
Yeah.
that we like the sound, which is okay, but we're commanded to do that too.
We're the peculiar people. Yeah, so when they say, oh, look at those weird people, you know what all they do over there? Did you say something, Mike?
Daniel speaks of a blessed day, 1335th day. Just looking for keys. Is it the same day?
Yeah. I think it's all, again, the feast days, Sabbath and feast days are all just mini rehearsals of the day when.
It's a shadow picture.
Yeah, shadow pictures.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah, for the day of deliverance and the day that.
The seventh day.
Yeah, the seventh day, what's going to happen then?
The rest. Rest and reward.
Yep. Thank you, Yahweh, for being there, Yahweh. Exodus 10:24. And Pharaoh called Moses and said, go serve Yahweh, only leave your flocks, your herds behind, and let your little ones go with you too. But Moses said, you yourself are to provide us with slaughterings and burnt offerings to prepare for Yahweh our Elohim. He's telling Pharaoh to supply them with the offerings. And our livestock are to go with us too. Not a hoof is to be left behind, for we have to take some of them to serve Yahweh our Elohim, and we ourselves do not know with what we are to serve Yahweh until we come there. I think there's a picture there that when you are called and you turn to Yahweh, you don't know what your service is going to be. You have no idea where he's going to lead you, or what your particular, and I believe everybody's got if you want to be his servant, he's got something for you to do. And it's not going to be the same as the one sitting next to you, the one down the road, or the one beside you. What he's got for you is going to be for you. And your service is going to be your service.
And he who puts his
Our job is to facilitate one another in that service or in that walk if we can. If we can help our brother along that road to do something in his service, we need to be there with him and for him. Not to second guess him because he doesn't believe exactly like we do, because my service is different than your service. So, heretic, man, have we gotten things out of joint. Instead of trying to bless one another, we curse one another. Instead of trying to lift one another up, we push one another down. And trying to be a body, we become disjointed. Joseph?
I had a rabbi once tell me that Israel was not the first to be chosen, that Canaan was, and they said no. And when Abraham was chosen and asked, Abraham said yes before he even knew the details. And that's why Yahweh loved him so much.
We do the same thing at baptism. When the children of Israel went before the mountain, Moses came down and he said, go tell the children of Israel this. Tell them, if you will listen to what I say and do it, then you will be that special treasure to me. That's before they heard him from the mountain. That's before they heard the deal. They said, yes, we know you're the deity of all creation, so we're going to listen to you and do what you say. Okay?
Yes, sir.
When we're baptized, we say, I'm giving myself to you. At this point forward, you own me, and I'm your servant, and I will do whatever you say. We agree to that before we hear the deal. Our orders isn't given yet. Are y'all seeing this? He's telling us, hey, we're giving it up before we know what our deal is. We don't know where he's going to send us or what he's going to do with us. I don't know if I'm going to be chosen a vessel of honor and put in a king's palace, or a vessel of disgrace and put in the gutter. Wherever he wants me, he will put me there. Or you. Some are vessels of honor, some are vessels of disgrace, or whatever. He will do with you what he wants, and you may be that vessel of disgrace like so many, and then raised to a vessel of honor. Isn't that the way it went? A little testing of Joseph. I mean, 17 years? Whatever, how many years he spent in prison and all of that?
13.
Went through all the things, being sold and slaves.
He was 17 when he went into, and he
30
spent
when he stood
13,
before.
and he spent 13
Pharaoh,
years.
13 years. That's long enough. That's a little testing. Little test. Yeah, we agree to that before we hear it.
Well, you know, those of us who've been in the military, same thing, they drive you. You don't know where you're going,
Yeah.
what you're going to do, what you're going to be, a cook or driver or digging ditches. But you swear to, I'll do what, you know, you swear in. Then they decide, well, you go here, you go there. The Father does the same way. You just come in, then you belong to me, then I'll see you where I want you to go. And you'll be where I want you to be.
See, we're slaves to sin. We're slaves to sin, and we serve sin, whether we want to or not. Sin enslaves us, and we're subjected to that service to sin. Once he frees us, then we're free to make a choice. We don't have to serve him, but he allows us to make that choice and turn to him. He doesn't force us to. We have got to choose to do it and walk that way. That's fruit that we bear. That's why that first fruit of leaving Egypt and turning away from sin and going towards that mountain, his law, because I want to serve him, is so huge. That is a huge first step. And like Pharaoh pushing them away, being thrust out of the land of Egypt. When you turn to Yah and you actually start to walk his way, what happens to all of your buddies that don't go that way? They push you, oh, here he comes again. Oh my goodness. Come preach to you. You know, he's preaching to me the other day. They all of a sudden, they don't want you around anymore, do they? They don't want nothing to do with you. They're going to push you away. Just like Pharaoh eventually pushed them out of Egypt. They were thrust out of Egypt. They were forced to go. It wasn't a choice that they made. And Pharaoh said to him, "Get away from me. Watch for yourself and see my face no more, for in the day you see my face, you will die." And Moses said, "You have spoken rightly. Never again do I see your face." And ask the question here. See, he does see a Pharaoh's face, doesn't he? Right after this, after the plague of the firstborn, he appears before Pharaoh. Is it this Pharaoh, or did that Pharaoh perish being a firstborn?
So the
I
next,
think, I don't know. Most people think it's the same Pharaoh. But this statement right here kind of leads you to believe that maybe there was a power change during that night. That other Pharaoh, this one here, never saw Moses' face again, like it said. If you believe the Bible, that is. I don't know. Because that next Pharaoh comes to bring them back, doesn't he? After he woke up the next morning and there wasn't nobody to make his eggs and bacon, he decided he needed his servants back. Why did you let them go? Why did they? What were we thinking? Who's going to mow my grass? Who's going to? Yeah. Wow. Let's go to 11. We got a few minutes. Maybe we ought to just stop there and see if anybody has anything they want to add to or say or whatever.
Well, I have something interesting to tell you. It's not really added to it, but there was a plague of locusts to hit the Mecca 3 days before this Torah portion.
Plague of locusts just hit Mecca 3 days ago?
Yep.
Hallelujah. Couldn't have chose a better place. Tina?
I had never really thought of that, the time frame of how long it took for all these things. But just as I was just writing down what first day was, second plague, third, and I noticed on the fifth plague, it said that there was a set time he appointed a set time, and I looked, and it was Moed, for the murrain on all the cattle. Then you had the boils, then you had the hail, and the hail happened at the springtime when the flax and the barley would have been not coming up to be ripe enough, but the wheat wasn't quite ready yet.
Yep.
Right? Then you had the locusts who took away the fruit that the hail didn't hit,
Yeah.
and that would have been late summer to fall. The darkness happened, but when the firstborn was taken away, that was the springtime again. Yeah, so it does point out that this may have transpired over maybe 2 years or longer.
There was at
Because you
least,
had those 4 or 5 of them before. this-
there was at least a 1-year cycle when you look at what all happened. There at least had to be 1 year.
Well, between the hail and the blood on the doorpost, there was at least a year there.
Yeah. Possibly 2 years.
Yeah, the
1
I
year.
think it's-
You think about the timeline with Moses, he was 80 at the burning bush. In the desert, 40 years, he died at 120. So there was about a year time span. That's kind of what I read a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
What I read before, about a year long
Yep.
time span.
Good man.
Another question. I may not know my history quite right, but when was the timing of King Tut?
Oh, man,
A lot later, or was there maybe,
I think
I've heard that some said that he might have been one of those pharaohs in that time in
There
there.
was Ramsey.
they want to say Ramsey.
It wasn't Ramses, but I think it was a later one with kind of motive.
I think it's mentioned by name. isn't it?
Yeah, the confusion on that, I believe, may be this power change and not having a firstborn to fulfill the throne, kind of threw them into a bit of chaos during that period of time. And historians will tell you that there's a bit of chaos that happened around the time of the Exodus. Whether this guy died in the Red Sea or he was struck dead as a firstborn, doesn't matter. There wasn't a firstborn to take the throne. So it messed up the power structure and the lineage of princes that would take the throne, or who was being groomed for that. So whatever happened, they know that it was messed up somewhere along there. And they've got the timing all wrong anyway by a couple hundred years. But
Yeah.
still, anyone else? You want to say something, Jerry?
Wouldn't Moses have been named after King Tut? Tut Moses was a pharaoh before. Otherwise, if he wasn't beforehand, why was Moses named Moses?
Depending on where he was and Pharaoh's daughter, being a daughter and not a son, because I think it's Pharaoh's daughter that picked him up.
She's named too. She's mentioned by name.
Right, but he wouldn't have been heir to the throne, I think is what Jerry's asking.
No, all I'm saying is we're talking about whether it was Tut.
Yeah.
The question was whether it was Tut in control at that time. I'm just saying he was either in control or was before, after him, probably because Tut Moses was who you were talking about. Was Tut. And so Moses got named probably after him.
What do you think, Ricky?
Well, I'm looking at. Can we look at numbers?
Okay, bring it up. Back where you on the screen.
Yeah. Okay. Ramses is also the name of the city. But Ramses is mentioned as the land of Ramses in Genesis 47:11. They journeyed from Ramses to Sukkot, and from Ramses in the first month, and the children of Israel were moved from Ramses. The city was named Ramses.
These pharaohs had a way of changing those names to their own names. Like the next one would have made it the city of, city of Ricky. When Ricky got to be Pharaoh, he made daughter Ramses, now it's the city of Ricky. And I understand that there's names chiseled out and names added to where they changed the name.
Well, it gives me another spelling with 2 A's.
In 33 there, the first month, the 15th of the month, that'll be the first month of the Hebrew calendar, right?
Yes.
So that would be about what, March, March or April or something, when it'll be the first Passover after they left.
Yeah.
First month, first. That'll be the first Passover out of Egypt. Well, the first one.
Very first time.
Yeah, very first Passover.
Exodus 1:11, it's treasured city, Pithom and Ramses. Yeah, Ramses is the name of the city there, but I think they were naming it after the Pharaoh Ramses.
So was he still alive, or was there another one?
Well, we know there was at least 2 Ramses,
Yeah.
because history records Ramses the second.
That's why we still celebrate Passover today, because Yahweh set Israel free from the bondage of Egypt. He set us free from the bondage of our sinful life.
Hallelujah. Very good.
On the first month, on the 15th day of the first month.
Yeah.
Just because they needed the full moon for traveling at night.
That's it.
And then the next holiday would have been the wave sheet,
First day of unleavened bread.
which would have been
First day of unleavened bread is the
Yeah.
15th day. They went out on the first day of unleavened bread, which is a high day.
In
Right.
haste. That's,
Yeah.
you know,
yeah.
All the firstborn children died same time, relating it to Yeshua's death. When he died. The day,
Yeah.
14th. And then on the 15th, they went out.
Anybody else? Not, let's say a prayer. So good. Patty, do you want to do the blessing? Would you like to?
Sure. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May He make His face to shine upon you and give you mercy, be merciful to you. May He lift up His countenance and grant you peace. Sure.